Hey guys, how's it going? And happy Saturday. I hope all of you are doing good. And if you tuned into my normal Friday night live stream, if you're new to the channel, welcome. We normally do a live stream here on YouTube every Friday night at 9:30. We talked about the craziness that happened in Michigan, how they slipped in crazy, beyond comprehension, scary type gun control tip line where kids can turn in their parents for how firearms are stored within the home. And I ended up dedicating my whole live stream to that because there was a lot that I wanted to talk about because it's pretty deep. And I said, well, I might talk about the new executive order. I have it right here by the current former vice president and Kamala, or whatever she calls herself nowadays. We ran out of time last night, so we're going to talk about this tonight. Now, here's the thing. I'm sure you're not completely surprised, but this is going to tie in with what's happening in Michigan, because that's why I talk about Michigan, because it's my home state, but Michigan seems to be the state that is, for the most part right now, carrying out the new advancements in the national agenda. And you're going to hear them talking about things like school safety. You're going to hear them in this executive order talking about tons of draconian stuff that's literally insane because the Second Amendment says shall not be infringed. And we're going to hear about agencies, bureaucrats on top of bureaucrats. And this is literally not the way this country is designed to work. In my opinion, this country can't keep functioning much longer this way. But here we are. And it's important to talk about this stuff, even though it keeps coming out, I don't know, every day, every week, every month. Just take your pick. So let's see who's in the chat real quick here. We have Joseph Vallo is the first one. Hello. James Hayden, Paul Bennett, I see Endit, Iron Horseman, Fun to Learn, Vince Metzger, Lori DeVries, Colin L, and 182Q, KFTW. So nice to see you guys, and shout out to whoever else comes in while we're live, and definitely appreciate those of you who watch on replay. I see Otto Kalash in here, and Midwest Logger, and Jane Locke. Nice to see all of you. So we're going to get right into this. There's actually two 10-page documents. I printed on both sides, so we end up with 5 actual pieces of paper because, well, thanks to the Harris-Biden administration, everything's expensive, including paper. I have the actual executive order right here. You can literally get this stuff right on whitehouse.gov if you want to mill through it, all right? And then here's the fact sheet that accompanies the executive order. I think I'm going to go through and read, and of course, opine, commentary. Look, if you guys want a video where somebody's literally just going to read this word for word, maybe you'll find that elsewhere. I'm going to do what I always do and talk about this stuff. So I'm going to go through the fact sheet, which has a little better explanation, and I think that's just the one that I kind of want to focus on a little bit more, even though they're both they're both not good. So I'm going to go over the fact sheet, but there is technically 2 documents. Hello, North Carolina. And by the way, when I think of the Carolinas, look, I just got done texting my friend Josiah like a couple hours ago. I'm going to go spend some time with him and the good people in South Carolina at PSA and their facilities next week. And then we're going to go from there further down to Georgia. And me and Josiah and my friend Frank, we got an Airbnb together. We're all kind of, chipping in to make it possible to afford the trip. And then we're going to be doing some hanging out in northern Georgia. And man, I've been seeing the devastation that's gone on with this hurricane, right? Helene, I think it's called, and lots of flooding, wind damage. So, man, God bless all of you who are affected by this hurricane. I was looking at Google Maps, just pretending I was to make the drive today to see if it's can you even get down there right now? Although I'm not going for another 4 days, I saw the Interstate 40s closed. I think that's because a dam might be breaking or it could break, and they're worried about a bunch of flooding, and it's kind of crazy. So I know a lot of you guys, you figure the southern states from Florida and then kind of going on up the eastern part there, a lot of stuff going on. So I hope you guys are okay. We have Dwayne from the Mariana Islands, who I've seen here before. So welcome. I told you guys we're known worldwide on this channel and all the craziness that happens here in these United States of America. So yeah, he says he's okay. His family's okay. Some of his family's out of power right now and standing water all over, but nobody he knows got hurt bad. And I hope that you and yours were all safe during this hurricane and the floods, and all of the power outages and crazy stuff that happens, maybe looting in areas. I hope you all are armed and I hope you're all safe. So we're going to get right into this fact sheet. But before we do, I'd like to thank all of you for the many ways you help support this channel. Thank you to all of you who are channel members, where you get extra emojis that you can use in the chat right now. Also, those of you who support on Patreon, and Locals, which is a different site, censorship free, where I stream there live every Saturday night. And yes, this stream is going to end around 11:05 p.m. ish Eastern time. And I already have a stream scheduled on Locals and that other green site that rhymes with Fumble. Links to both of those sites are down in the description. So literally when I'm done here, I'm going to be heading over to my already scheduled, normally weekly live stream on those censorship free sites where we can touch guns while we're live. We can talk about all kinds of really, really cool stuff. So I hope to see some of you guys over there. You can join my Locals free, or it's a place you can support. You can join Rumble totally free. It's also a place you can help support. So make sure you guys check that out, because I literally put extra stuff over there, okay, that I can't post on YouTube. Like, some people are like, dude, you haven't really done as many gun videos lately. And maybe I'll be putting some up on YouTube soon, actually. But I've been putting gun videos up on Locals and the other site that YouTube doesn't like too much. Links down in the description. Like, constantly, like pretty much on a weekly basis. Also, check out Myriad Social. That's a censorship-free site and uncensorable. And I'm literally showing like a fully functional PSA GF3 MG, if you know what I mean. So you can literally watch that. I know they don't really make those, but I got my hands on one and you can see it. And it was actually a really cool little like 2-minute video that I thought was quite a bit of fun. And by the way, if you guys are into Blackout Coffee, last call, I posted this earlier on a community post last night in the description of the stream. Their cold brew, ready to drink cans of coffee are currently buy 2, get 1 free for the cases of those, the packs of them. The link and the code to take care of that offer is right down there in the description. Make sure you check that out. If you use my link, it does help the channel a little bit, and that code will help you huge. I also have an awesome 20% off code, one-time use, that you can use for your whole entire order. And if you're already just buying stuff from Blackout Coffee on a regular basis, which I suggest you try it if you haven't yet. Their coffee's awesome, ground or whole bean. They actually have really cool swag that I've bought as well. Check all that out over there. Some really cool stuff you might want in your kitchen and whatnot. And then the cold brew, which I tried in person in Knoxville, Tennessee, and that's awesome stuff as well. So check out Blackout Coffee. And if you're a customer, please remember the channel. If you want to be a financial supporter for free, just use my link and it all adds up and helps fund all of the stuff I do, because I spend a ton of money and time on this channel, and you guys are all my sponsors. And I saw America the Free started off right away with a 223 super chat and a channel member, and super chatted last night. So thank you for helping to sponsor the channel. And crazy YouTube BS. Yes, it is crazy, but you guys can literally watch like some really cool stuff. Like, I'm not joking. If you don't believe me, go over to Myriad Social or Rhymes with Fumble. There's a reason I say that, because they don't even like you saying the name of it on here. I'm not joking, right? Go check it out and you'll literally see a PSA GF3 MG, we're going to call it, right? In all of its glory. And you probably really won't see one anywhere else, but I've got your back and I got the video up there for all of you. And I'll be joining you guys live on those 2 platforms in about an hour. Monroe, Michigan. Shout out, man. Nice to see somebody from my area. Metro Detroit. Wow, this is cool. Look at all of you guys in the chat. Nice people tonight. Looking forward to hanging out with all of you. Well, Michigan go red. Dude, it's going to be close. It's really, really going to be close. And we're in a nail biter throughout so many states and the United States. September 26th, 2024. You know what I'd rather be reading? in Congress, July 4th, 1776. Wow, what a beautiful day that was. Do you guys just want to skip all this and read the Declaration of Independence tonight? I'd like to, but there's already someone saying, 2-way EDU, get to the point. You can, no, this is a live stream. I enjoy the people and like being here with everybody, but here we are today, September 26th, 2024, President Biden. I'm going to edit some of this and say it properly. Toledo, Ohio holds a very special place in my heart. My daughter required special medical attention when she was born. She was born in the great city of Toledo, Ohio. You know what I mean? People can rip on Toledo all they want, but my daughter was born there. So, like, huge shout out to Toledo. I really appreciate that town more than you guys would know. Current former Vice President Biden and Vice President Harris. What's she call herself today? Does anyone know? She doesn't know her name. What's my name? What color am I? It's like that Supreme Court justice, right? What's a woman? Nobody knows. Announce additional actions to reduce gun violence and save lives. I want to stop right here. They're literally teaching kids in our schools right now. They're teaching them everywhere, through social media, through public indoctrination, okay? No, seriously, shout out to Ohio, man. We're supposed to have this rivalry and hate each other. Love Ohio. Like, the most beautiful creation I've ever seen from God was born there. So I really do like you guys in that state a lot. But look, there's this term gun violence, and it needs to stop. And I hope all of you are talking to your adult friends and especially your children, your nieces, your nephews, friends of the family. This gun violence is a terrible phrase, and I hate it because it's becoming prolific. There is no such thing as gun violence. Look, a gun is not good or evil. It's a complete and utter inanimate object. Now, evil people will use guns to perpetrate evil. I mean, if you go back to the Bible, Cain killed Abel with a rock. Since the beginning of time, people have been using anything they can think of to kill people with. Now, also, though, since the beginning of time, good people have been protecting themselves by every means necessary. And while they like to say gun violence, it's person violence. Some people are evil. Some people are violent. And they do bad things with guns and with many, many other things. And here's the thing to remind your friends of when they want to counter this, because this is the truth. They always say they want to go after the so-called assault rifle. I hate those words, but that's what they're going to call it. So we have to get used to their terms, but try not to use them. That's why we're using air quotes here. We can use these words to counteract it, but don't walk up to your friends and say, I just bought in a new assault weapon, okay? Don't tell your friends that, gun violence, because that really doesn't exist. It's a misnomer, and it's indoctrination, and it's brainwashing of especially our children. But when they say we're going to have an assault weapons ban, or the AR stands for assault rifle, and all this ludicrous, stupid stuff, right? FBI statistic, more people are killed with hands and feet every year in the United States than they are with any sort of rifle combined, okay? Any sort of rifle combined. So with that said, keep that in mind. Now, and also the stat they don't like to talk about, which is provably true. Many, many more people, millions of times more people actually protect good lives with a gun than bad people take lives with a gun. So I hate that they're going to talk about gun violence a million times, but that's the purpose of these. It's not just the deep nanny state bureaucratic government crap they're going to pull with this. This is also meant for public indoctrination, and don't forget that. I think you guys know that. I just say this stuff to try to remind you to talk to other people about it, because don't take for granted. A lot of friends and stuff, they just run around, well, there is a lot of gun violence. No. People violence. New executive order directs federal agencies to combat emerging firearms threats. There you go again. A firearm cannot threaten anybody. Think about this for a minute. Yeah, I just saw some of them. Why don't they ban cars? I mean, why don't they ban, I don't know, all kinds of stuff? Do you just want to ban everything? I think some people do want to live under the jackboot of a nanny state government, actually, and that's sad. It's sad that so many people in this country hate America, but still want to be here somehow, and it's ridiculous. To combat emerging firearms threats, and improve school-based active shooter drills. Today, current former Vice President Biden and Vice President Kamala, like the camel, Harris, are announcing a new executive order directing federal agencies to improve school-based active shooter drills and combat the emerging threats of machine gun conversion devices and unserialized 3D printed firearms. Now they're going after your freedom of speech, too. The ability to protect yourself, the ability to print. Just think about this for a minute. They want to go after your ability to print, as well as additional executive actions that advance the Biden-Harris administration's agenda to reduce gun violence, back to that again, and save lives. Now, most of this requires a listener to be dumber than the speaker, but we need to go through this together. Good to see all of you guys, by the way, because this stuff sucks. And I'm glad you guys don't suck, you know? Tell me if anyone in the chat sucks. I'm saying for the most part, you guys are all cool people and probably think this stuff's as stupid as me, but it's actually serious, though. These people aren't fooling around anymore. After the prior administration oversaw the largest one-year increase in murders ever recorded, yeah, I doubt that. They're really messing with the stats here. President Biden, current former Vice President Biden, and Vice President Harris took action from the start of their administration to reduce violent crimes. You know what they do? They take all these violent crimes and they reclassify them as nonviolent crime, and then the non-violent crime goes down. Do you remember all the mostly peaceful protests, so-called? The St. George Floyd era? And that, yeah. If you call it mostly peaceful, then I guess it was mostly peaceful. My vacuum sucks. What's up, Colonel? The president. Okay, let's see what they're doing. Why do they keep calling him the president? Biden and Kamala, we'll just say, helped deliver over $15 billion in funding through the American Rescue Plan for law enforcement, community violence interventions. These are lobby-based anti-2A activist groups. That's what that actually is. Tons of money getting shuffled around in all these. Follow the money, too. And other public safety strategies. By the middle of 2022, the Biden-Harris administration had already... Who's even in charge right now? Is he even still in office? Had already announced more executive actions to reduce gun violence than any other administration. Then, on June 25th, 2022, President Biden signed into law the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. Oh, I knew this thing was going to keep haunting us. Those of you that have been around this channel for a while remember, man, how mad I was when they were brewing this up and it passed, and it's going to be haunting us for a long time. And many, many Republican senators came over to stop the filibuster, and this did get through into law, unfortunately, big time. The biggest gun control in 30 years. On September 22nd, 2023, to help further progress, President Biden established the first ever White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention, overseen by Vice President Kamala Harris. And we talked about that on this channel. Look, they pass a law, and the law alone is like completely unconstitutional and like jackbooted as all get out. But then it's all these executive actions and rules that they do to promulgate. And then you end up with, like, off of one law, you end up with hundreds and even more in some cases, rules that end up with full force and effect of law. In America. Under the leadership of President Biden, Vice President Harris, in 23, United States experienced the single largest homicide rate drop in recent history. Yeah, I doubt that. The reduction in homicide has accelerated this year. Data submitted to the DOJ shows that the homicide rate dropped another 17%. Okay. So they're going through talking about how awesome they are on crime. Yeah, right. Has anyone been to a big city lately? I doubt it. There's no way. Now they're bragging. Today marks 1 year since the establishment of the office, the gun control office. They're bringing meaningful solutions. Now, here's more of the meat and potatoes. Current former Vice President Biden is signing an executive order to accelerate progress on two key priorities: the emerging firearms threats and improving school-based active shooter drills. Well, look, I'm going to go with what Dr. John Lott says. He's the foremost statistician when it comes to all of this, not even refutable. There has not been one school shooting in any school during school hours where the teachers and the staff are armed. Think about that. There's no people trading bullets and all this like some idiots like to say on different social media forums. No, they don't even try. They only go to these gun-free zones because gun-free zone isn't the correct word for it. It's not a gun-free zone. These only affect the law-abiding. These are criminal empowerment zones. Because if somebody's literally hell-bent on murder of children, like, how much worse could you be? You probably couldn't get worse than that. If you think about it, maybe something could be close to that, but that's as bad as it gets. You really think the person's worried about the extra fine or whatever for walking past a gun-free zone? No. This only affects the law-abiding. The law-abiding people, disarm. Just remember, when guns are outlawed, only outlaws will own guns, right? School shootings do happen where there's safety resource officers, where there's police in the buildings. We've seen many cases of that. I'm not saying I'm opposed to police and armed guards, but it actually seems to be that when the staff and or the teachers are armed, has seemed to be much more effective throughout these United States. It's an interesting thing. I'm not a statistician, but that's why I rely on people like Dr. John Lott Jr., who is. And I've met him and I've bought his books. I just saw him again, actually, last month. All right, combating emerging firearms threats. They're going after stuff that's new here. In April 2021, one of the Biden-Harris administration's first executive actions to reduce gun violence was addressing the emerging threat of firearms without serial numbers. Look, serial numbers weren't required on firearms till 1968 in this country. We probably had a lot better country, a lot safer country, certainly, before 1968 than we do now. See, the more gun control they keep passing, the less safe we become. How did this country possibly get by, you might be asking yourself, for about 200 years when serial numbers were not mandated on firearms? Not till 1968. And I have some pre-68 guns with no serial numbers on them at all. I actually have post homemade that don't either, by the way. And the guns aren't violent. They're not threatening anybody. I don't like to threaten people, and a gun that I'm possessing has never, caused any problems for anybody. I'm sure a lot of you are nodding your heads because you know exactly what I'm talking about. Emerging threat of firearms without serial numbers, often referred to as ghost guns. To expand these efforts, ATF established an emerging threat center. Okay, this is pre-crime. This is before a crime happens. This center focuses on ATF's resources on identifying developments in illicit firearm marketplaces, including the use of new technologies to make and unlawfully distribute undetectable firearms and devices that convert semi-automatic firearms into illegal machine guns. Now, Biden and Harris are taking additional action on two emerging firearms threats: machine gun conversion devices and unserialized 3D printed firearms. So, as people love to say, they say you can't stop the signal. They're going after the signal. They're going after printing. Will they be able to stop it? I don't know. That's for you guys to decide. But that's definitely what they're going after. Nevada Memes for Liberty. Shout out, man. Thank you. 1776 super chat. Thank you for your generosity. And 1775, which, remember, guys, 1776 Declaration of Independence signed. Heard around the world. More than a year earlier, 1775 is when it officially kicked off. And I figured you would know that, but I like to remind people because some people don't know. They think, boom, Lexington, conquered. Then it was signed like that day or whatever. No, this has been brewing for decades, quite frankly. Peacefully, also violently in some instances, Boston Massacre and others. And then 1775 is the answer to 1984. Well, thank you for the super chat. And shout out to Nevada Memes for Liberty on Twitter, X. Okay. Definitely lots of good stuff posted over there. So thank you. Now, they're going to go through here. Let's see. Okay. Machine gun conversion devices enable semi-automatic firearms, including easily concealable handguns, to match or exceed the rate of fire of many military machine guns with a single engagement of the trigger. Now, that's interesting that they're trying to shift the words to engagement, because that's not what the NFA says actually, but that's the word they're using. Okay. We've seen them shift from function of the trigger. Then we've seen them try to merge that to it means pull of the trigger. And now it's turning into engagement of the trigger. Interesting. Auto collage. I hear you, man. To stop the signal. That's why literally when this stream's done tonight, and if you guys are watching on replay, it's available on replay. I'm going to be over on Locals, okay? I'm going to be over on, it has green in its scheme. It's sister companies of Locals, by the way. Rhymes with fumble. You know, they don't even like you to say the name of these sites. Probably because they're starting to whoop YouTube's butt in many ways. There is literally a PSA GF3 MG video over there right now. And tonight we're going to be doing a live stream touching guns like we used to be able to do here. With a single engagement of the trigger, up to 20 bullets in 1 second. Now that's a fast rate of fire. Hold on a minute. 1,200? It might be possible. There are some MGs that come up near there. I'm trying to think of the fastest machine gun I ever personally shot. No, I've not got to shoot a minigun, guys. Okay. Not had a chance to do that. What's up, G23? Sean Z, Moose Man, Mike McClune, Patrick Fowlers. Man, like I said, I knew there was nice people in here tonight. Good to see all of you again. Hopefully I'll see you guys later tonight as well. I shot an HK MP5K, which is the short one. And if you think about it, being shorter, it ends up being a faster cyclic rate, and that thing was fast. All right. Like my friends at JSD Supply, if you guys are familiar, they brought it to an event a few years ago. And Jordan's like, dude, want to shoot a machine gun? I'm like, yeah, man. Like, I'll never afford a machine gun, you know? And that thing was really fast, but I don't even know if that's 1,200. Maybe some of you guys know more about this than me. 1,200 bullets in a second is fast for any machine gun. From 2017 through 2021, ATF recovered 5,454, 5454 of these devices, a 570% increase over the previous 5-year period. You know, it's becoming obvious to me. This is all part of the plan. All right. This is all part of the plan. Think about it. We have no borders anymore at all. Virtually none in the South, none in the North. You can't even have a country without borders. They're bringing in the fentanyl, which is killing way more people than their made-up propaganda term gun violence. Like, it's not even close. Okay? This is the true epidemics and tragedies going on in this country. This is what's taking children's lives. It's called fentanyl and other things. And guess what? They just happen to be finding people with backpacks of these. Backpacks of these. They're referring to the Glock switch, I think is what they're truly talking about here. Conversion devices just coming on through the border. So guess what? They get to bring in all the drugs, dump those on everybody. I'm talking lethal, deadly drugs here, okay? I ain't talking about your mama's Mary Jane or any of that stuff. But I'm talking like literally like hardcore. You can do it one time, you can die. You can touch the residue from a baggie. You could be dead within minutes, drugs. Coming through the border, and guess what? They're trafficking all this other stuff through the border, which I don't have a problem with machine guns being prolific, because shall not be infringed means you should be able to buy a machine gun just as easy as a book. Remember when Obama said it's easier to buy a gun than it is a book? Well, No crap. It's like the First Amendment means you can own a book. The Second Amendment means you can own any gun there is, including a machine gun. Like, these people think they're clever when they say that, and I'm like, well, yeah, it should just be is just as easy to buy any gun, including machine guns, as a book. Does anyone disagree with me? Think about it. But no, since it's illegal, since it's taboo, they're flooding us through these borders. Okay. Now, China's where they say the fentanyl comes from, where it's made. These conversion devices, also primarily made in China. It's obvious China wants to take this country out on all levels. Okay. You can't even buy most medication and antibiotics. Now, if these docks shut down, the Eastern Seaboard docks, watch for this, guys. If those shut down, you might not be able to get your medications, many other things. Really watch that. Not trying to get you guys scared, but really pay attention to that. There's potentially like some really scary stuff coming to this country, like possibly in a few days here. But China, it's that whole communist trope, right? We'll take you over without firing a shot. That's what Nikita Khrushchev said, the premier of Russia in the 1960s. Look, there's nothing new under the sun. That's what the Bible says. This is the same thing. It just gets repeated, and it comes up in just a little bit different forms. So they're shoving all these, quote, illegal conversion devices through the border. They shouldn't be illegal. It should be fine to buy one on Wish for $1, in my opinion. Not giving you legal advice. Don't do it. It's probably a honeypot. I'm just saying. According to the Second Amendment, that should be the law of the land. But now they're going to say, look, these have gone up 5,000%. Yeah, because you guys are hustling them through. You're allowing China to hustle them through. There's people in this government that are not only complicit, but it seems like in business and in bed with China to take this whole country down. And there's so much money racketing and money being transferred here. It's like the tail's definitely wagging the dog. And I told you I wasn't just going to read this word for word because there's a lot to this. And I know like just the plain text of this is blah, blah, blah. But look at what they're actually doing here. Our borders are open. Stuff's coming through. Now they're going to use that. They're trying to use that as reasons to ban all this stuff. I think what they're going to do is say, look, we need to ban Glocks. Now, will they actually get by with it? That's up to we the people. That's up to our supposed public servants in office that we elect or get installed or however that works nowadays, if you know what I mean. But look, they're going to come out and they're getting close and say, dude, we just have to ban all Glocks and all Glock clones because the switches are just too prevalent. And if they're not prevalent enough, they'll probably shove more of them through the open borders until there's enough. I think that's what their plan is. Do you disagree? Machine gun conversion devices are illegal to possess under federal law. They're not illegal under the Constitution, though, but we don't follow that anymore. That's just an old piece of paper. That's so like 1776, bruh. Like, who even cares? Like, they didn't even have video games out then. That's what the average voter says nowadays. It's like, are you kidding me? I mean, shout out to all the video gamers that are pro Second Amendment, but shoot, people freaked out when Call of Duty went woke more than they freaked out about this stuff. And I think video games are awesome. I'm just saying, come on. But we continue to see these devices show up at crime scenes because they are small, cheap, and easy to install. That's all true, actually. Machine gun conversion devices are often illegally imported. Oh, there we go. Think about it. Or illegally made on a 3D printer from computer code found online. Could you imagine that? I thought Obama said when he was getting rid of all the middle-class working man's jobs, shout out to everyone that gets a little dirt under their nails and, you know, has calluses on their hands. He said, you won't need that. Learn to code. Do you remember all that? Well, good thing you didn't quit your day job just to learn to code. Now, shout out to all the coders and IT guys, because I actually was in IT for a career in a past life many years ago. But still, they'll learn to code. Now they're going after the code. These can be illegally made with a 3D printer from computer code online. Well, that sounds about right. Stop the signal. I mean, you know, stop the printing. What's up, Gort? What's up, Ross77, Pillbox Bunker, Mateo? How's it going, guys? You guys are discussing some rates of fire, which is an interesting conversation. Mateo has experience, as the old saying goes, in a past life, past career is with the M60. Maybe he's already been sharing that, but if not, you guys can pick Mateo's brain on how fast that one shoots. I already know the M60, the pig, as it's called, affectionately called, and sometimes not so affectionately called. Right, Mateo? It's one of those things from what I've heard. I know that thing ain't firing at 1,200 rounds per minute. The 3D printing of a machine gun conversion device. This is making me want to print something right now. I mean, I printed this, so you know what I mean? Machine gun conversion devices cost as little as 40 cents and takes fewer than 30 minutes. Wow. You know what they do, right? By the time we're done reading this, they're going to teach you how to do it and then come and raid you when you do. You can't even make this stuff up. If you read like all these ATF official papers from like their tech branch, they literally like teach people how to do all of this stuff. You're like, well, I was just following your instructions. I mean, some of you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Oh, man. If you guys need any coffee, check out that link to Blackout Coffee. That sale's going on for about another hour and 15 minutes. You might need some so you can study this stuff and just start printing stuff all night long, I guess. Printing documents and rulings. Unserialized 3D printed firearms can be used for illegal purposes. Just think about that. Just remember, when guns are outlawed, only outlaws will own guns. Will you be an outlaw? Or will you guys be the law-abiding citizen to the end? It's for you to decide. Very personal choice. Probably shouldn't answer me online, quite frankly, and I'm not giving any advice, but who will own the guns once they're outlawed? Unlawful possession by people convicted of felonies or subject to domestic violence restraining orders. See, they've regrouped domestic violence in the state of Michigan and many other places where there's lots of non-violent offenses now that are falling under so-called domestic violence. You can't even make this up. Look, we poke fun of it, but I knew it. I just knew it. Tell me if any of you guys noticed this. When they said mostly peaceful protest, remember that? The CNN anchor was out there. Looks like the 4th of July. It looks like 1775 is going on in the background, but not in a good way, you know. And stuff's blowing up, the whole city's burning down. All of a sudden, this like fireball shoots right past the reporter, and he goes, "Whoa!" I mean, besides that, this is a mostly peaceful protest. I'm like, that's interesting. They're literally changing the language like right before our eyes. And then it's not too much later, and now we have domestic violence. There's literally people right now that have become prohibited in this country under the domestic violence prohibition that did not get convicted of a violent act. So you can have the most violent knockdown, drag out, riot, and they call it mostly peaceful protest. And you can call like an ex after 9 at night with a commercial phone call and become a domestic violence offender in Michigan. You can enter the wrong person's ice fishing shanty in Michigan and become prohibited by domestic violence. You could key somebody's car. Now, you shouldn't do that. You should have to pay restitution because keying a car probably isn't in self-defense, whatever. But is that domestic violence? I don't think so, but actually in Michigan it is now, and in many other states. So when you hear the word domestic violence, this ain't the way it used to be. There was a time when you're like, yeah, man, someone's beating his wife. That's a bunch of BS. Now, some of you are a little more old school than that. And you're like, I told her I don't want to tell you twice. But still. Now, at the same time, nowadays, though, it doesn't necessarily have to fall under any of that. It could be completely non-violent and you're still considered domestically violent. Restraining orders are unlawfully engaging in the business of manufacturing or selling firearms. Yeah, well, I read the ATF rule of what it means to be unlawfully engaged in the business as. Ask Brian Malinowski about that. The airport director, right, in Arkansas, who was literally gunned down in the wee hours of the morning. Yeah, they literally just smoked him. And he was under investigation of this newly created rule at that time, less than a year ago, 6 months ago or so for supposedly being unlawfully engaged in the business of. See, this stuff's all the web. That's why I'm bringing this up. These firearms can be 3D printed from computer code downloaded from the internet and produced without serial numbers that law enforcement uses to trace firearms recovered in criminal investigations. Yeah, it's also used to make an illegal registry too. Serial numbers are with the 4473s, which by the way is a violation of federal law. GOA has shown. They had a whole expose on it talking about how, yes, they do have proof now that they are using the 4473s. Do you remember the movie Red Dawn, the old one, where they need to go get the 4473s? Yeah, they do that now. And they're keeping a list, a registration. Registrations always led to confiscation, and you can't register a firearm very easily without a serial number. Some 3D printed firearms can be made to be undetectable by magnetometers used to secure airports, courthouses, and event spaces, even though these undetectable firearms are illegal to make, sell, or possess under federal law. See, we had the Undetectable Firearms Act because of that so-called, I mean, give me a break. You guys remember the movie in the 80s? This is the porcelain Glock. You guys can all chime in that are movie buffs. You know what I mean? Congress literally did a knee-jerk reaction and said, oh my gosh, they have a completely porcelain Glock? Do tell. We have to ban all so-called undetectable by a metal detector or magnetometer. There's no way this was written by the current former vice president. Do you think literally he could say magnetometer? I mean, his most famous quote is, I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize of pressure. There's no way he typed this. Like, literally impossible. He doesn't know these types of words. We here do, because we're smart. He doesn't have these words. Trust me. Tell me about the Die Hard 2. What's up, QD? How you doing, man? QD, I'll tell you about this. I'm going to be driving through the great state of Virginia, too, in a few days. I-40's closed down, by the way. God bless all of you affected by these hurricanes, East Coast, Florida, the South, as we affectionately call it. And, man, because they, like, have I-40 closed, so I'm going to get to go through the beautiful state of West Virginia. You guys know this song? It's literally one of my favorites. It basically starts out saying, almost heaven, West Virginia. I play that every time I drive into that state. Even though Virginia is a close second as far as a very beautiful state. So, I'll be in your neighborhood, QD, in a few days here. If the good Lord's willing and the creek don't rise, and in this case, I mean literally, okay? Literally if the creek don't rise. Commonwealth, okay? Commonwealth of Virginia. You guys have delegates, not state reps. I know. I hung out with AC Cardoza just about a month ago. One of your delegates. I know better. Dude, I'm giving your state a Commonwealth. See, why do we say these? A big shout out. Why do we say these 50 states when actually like 4 or 5 are Commonwealths? Answer that for me, somebody. I am actually kind of curious. I could look it up, but I'm too enthralled in reading about this current former vice president right now. Okay. They can't be secured. That's because of the porcelain Glock. Okay. Firearms are legal to make, sell, or possess under federal law. So there's somebody out there that's new, right? That's like, dude has to be joking. Guys, look it up. I'm not even joking. The porcelain Glock comes out. Die Hard 2. It's not real, but that's what they say. And then they literally like rush out and pass this bill. And it becomes law. That was under the... You can't say this too much. All right. Please forgive me, guys. Republican friends out there, please forgive me. You know what I mean? I usually say this to my libertarian friends, but no, listen. My libertarian friends have my back. Republicans, we can still be friends, but the great Ronald Reagan did that. Wow, Reagan passed a lot of gun control. Actually, he did. They all do. They love to. All right. Even though these undetectable firearms are legal to make, sell, or possess under federal law, as 3D printing technology continues to develop rapidly, the safety threat posed by 3D printed firearms may suddenly increase. All right, so what's he going to do about it in this executive order? President Biden. Now, these are orders. These actually, like when he commands it, they have to do it type of thing, unfortunately. And this executive order. Now, I'm not saying you guys have to. I'm saying like these people that he's commanding to that are under his command, I guess. Whatever the heck. Where's he at? Is he even awake right now? But I'm just saying, you have to take this stuff seriously, even though you don't want to. I don't want to. This is what that is actually going to be done, unfortunately. Current former Vice President Biden is establishing an emerging firearms threats task force. Emerging firearms threats task force? Ugh. I want to go puke right now. Consisting of leadership from key federal departments and agencies. There's the bureaucracy. There's the money. They're going to shove billions of dollars into this too, keep in mind. This is literally just like this whole scheme. It's all circular. Keep working hard, guys, by the way. Keep working hard, man. No one can barely afford a super chat. Nobody can barely even afford to buy groceries right now. Those Haitians need that $400 debit card, though, don't they? They need money to fund this task force. Get to work, brawny young lads. Work your fingers to the bone to make sure they have plenty of money to fund this, because that's what it means to live as a tax slave in this country. President Biden is directing the task force to issue a report within 90 days that includes an assessment of the threat posed by machine gun conversion devices and unserialized 3D printed firearms. Dude, these guys pay like $100 for one sheet of copy paper. Do you know how much a report costs from the federal government? Think I'm joking? Look that up. Literally, when they say we need to make a report, look how much this stuff costs. It's insane. No wonder there's such nice houses in Martha's Vineyard. Probably the copy paper guy is a billionaire by the time they're done doing all this stuff. Could you imagine that? If you had the right hookup, you could probably become a millionaire overnight by selling sheets of paper that you paid 3 cents for $1 a piece to the government. Think I'm joking? I'm actually exaggerating because it's worse than that. That includes an assessment of the threat posed by machine gun conversion devices and unserialized 3D printed firearms, an assessment of federal agencies' operational and legal capacities to detect, intercept, and seize machine gun conversion devices and unserialized 3D printed firearms, and an interagency plan for combating these emerging threats. Here's the problem with this. Now, state laws may be different, okay? No legal advice. But since when is it illegal to make your own firearm? You've always been able to make your own firearm in the United States. You were able to make your own firearm before the United States was even a country. And if our forefathers weren't able to, we wouldn't be the United States of America right now. That's the thing. Like, yes, these machine gun conversion devices under the unconstitutional laws are illegal. But last time I checked, state laws may vary. One more time, no legal advice. But since when's it illegal in the United States to build a firearm on federal law? I haven't seen that one yet, but they're acting like it is. They want to seize. They want to seize stuff that, as far as I know, isn't even illegal. All this is illegal. Like, their laws are illegal because they violate the Second Amendment, which is supposed to be the supreme law of the land. But I'm just saying. The report will include any additional authorities. Okay, here we go. You guys thought maybe I was joking, but here we go. You got to read this stuff. The report will include any additional authorities or funding the federal agencies need from Congress in order to complete this work. See, they put it there real small. Just by saying, or funding the federal agencies need. Do you know how much money is going to get trafficked everywhere right now over this? See, this is their main goal, to disarm us. Their main goal in all this is the rhetoric, to change our vocabulary, to change the English language, to indoctrinate our children. And yes, point source, this is a gun grab. But just as much as all of that, like concurrently, there's enough money in here where they can do all that. This is a money laundering scheme. I used to always read these with the mindset of, okay, This is Second Amendment focused, and it is, obviously. But it's literally a money laundering scheme by the time you really actually look through this. Same thing in the state of Michigan, same thing in your home state. All of this stuff has. Well, we're going to fund it with XYZ huge number, and then, by the way, basically infinite additional funding if needed. Does anyone like elderberry juice, by the way? I do. And I make it from concentrate. Like, it's like so concentrated, half a teaspoon for this whole bottle of water. Really good stuff. Okay, we're going to go over this real quick here because we are going to be hanging out over on the non-censorship platforms. A lot of this is kind of going over stuff they've gone before. So if you don't mind, I'm going to skim kind of quickly, and then we're going to go hang out on Locals and the site that rhymes with Fumble. Make sure you guys are over there following me, creating your free Locals account if you need to. Just so you guys know, you can make a Rumble account and then use that also to log into Locals. So feel free to do all of that as well. I'm going to show you guys some cool stuff. I'm literally going to show you a gun that I shot just 2 days ago. We're going to talk about that. I might even give you guys a little inside, all right? A little bit of an inside scoop of my watermelon ammo test that I'm going to be doing. Yeah, it's completely ridiculous. As soon as you think to yourself, oh, come on, dude, you're going to shoot watermelon with ammo, see what it does. No, it's nothing like that. It's like 10 times more interesting than that. I promise you. And I might show you guys a little bit of this watermelon ammo. Yeah, go look for the link to Crumble. See, there's always one of these in the chat. What's up, 182Q? There's always that guy, but I like it. It's kind of funny, actually. Rhymes with mumble. See? See what I mean? Bumble. You guys are good. I like you guys tonight. Wow. The 2A has been winning more and more since Bruin. Yeah, you're right. Can't let up. These money laundering schemes are alive and well. Trust me on this. But when you go down there, you'll figure out which link it is. And like literally, like I'm going to do like a 5-minute intervention in a minute when I get off of here. And you guys can go watch that GF3MG. Somebody was arguing with me the other day. They're like, no, you didn't shoot that. It doesn't exist. I'm like, it doesn't exist, but I made it a priority to be able to actually shoot one just for all of you. Like, I didn't want to shoot it. They had to threaten me with Chinese water torture drills and put bamboo underneath my fingernails to make me shoot it. I mean, why would I want to shoot an AKMG? I'm not an AK fanatic or anything. I mean, you can't even, well, we're on YouTube, so we'll just say, you can't see anything. There's nothing to see here. In a few minutes over on Locals and Bumble, we'll call it, right? Bumble, somebody just said. Stumble. Okay, Stumble. What's up, DB Cooper? Nice to see you, man. There's so many guys in here that I just want to say hi to. But then people get mad because they're like, stop saying hi to everybody. Just give me a second here if you don't mind. Fun to learn. What's up, man? Zanti Misfit. Poot says elderberry stops colds dead in their tracks. Yes, I agree. And it tastes really good, man. Good stuff. I definitely recommend. AVC LLC just started following you on Bumble. So thank you. Nice. I like to see this. We're going to go big time, guys. We're already famous worldwide. We had the Mariana Islands in here. I mean, wow. Think about this for a minute. What's up, Lucky Dog 350X? Ego Riser. Tech Money. What's happening, Tech Money? He says, what's up, chat? All right. They're going to go through improving school-based active shooter drills. Besides all the perversion of money they're going to use with this, that might be the only thing in here that's a little bit okay. You know what I mean? Maybe. I see these super chats, guys. I'm definitely going to read those. In 1 second here. You know, I'm going to go over to Locals and Rumble in a minute. You guys can keep me here all night, though, if the super chats don't stop. I'm not asking for any. I'm just saying it would be a strategy, technically. All right. Now, what just happened in Michigan last night? Oh, wait, the storage of firearms. Now, you might be surprised to see that they are going to promoting safe storage of firearms and red flag laws, encouraging safe storage of firearms. Clarifying medical reimbursement for counseling on firearm safety. When they say firearm safety, that means gun control. Now they're going to infiltrate with Medicaid reimbursements. Think about this, Medicaid, so government funded entitlement spending, right? They're going to go through with Medicaid money and use that to teach healthcare workers about gun control. Yeah, actually. Clarifying Medicaid reimbursements for counseling on firearm safety. Health systems, hospitals, healthcare workers are an essential component of a healthy gun violence prevention and intervention. Oh, this is making me sick. We're going to go talk about guns just a few minutes, guys. You know, implementing state red flag laws. This is where I want to warn all of you guys, and I mean this sincerely. Don't give in. Don't let your local state reps and senators give in to this, because I want to have free states that don't have red flag laws. My state of Michigan does, and it sucks. It's terrible. They're bribing every state in this union right now, and they're re-upping it again. The Department of Justice is announcing over $135 million, more money, in formula awards to 48 states under the Burn State Crisis Intervention Program, which provides funding for the implementation of Extreme Risk Protection Order or Red Flag programs, state crisis intervention, court proceedings, and related programs, initiatives. Yeah. They're literally going to bring this stuff into your local courts. This is going to be to do with divorces, custodies. I mean, this is spreading really, really wide, and there's tons of money going into this. The implementation of state red flag laws is supported by the National Extreme Risk Protection Resource Center, because they've created a whole branch of government for that too within the past couple of years. I wouldn't even believe this guy talking right now if I was watching this channel 10 years ago, even 10, 20 years ago. I mean, 9/11 did happen, so, you know, but even just a few years ago, it's like, are you kidding me right now? Yeah, there is. Funding community violence interventions, clarifying Medicaid reimbursements, maximizing the enhanced background check with red flag laws, facilitating advanced background checks for individuals under 21. You can go fight and die for your country, but you can't have a gun in the U.S. when you come home from war. Doesn't sit too well with me. Improving the federal gun background check system, expanding data on gun violence and gun trafficking, publishing additional data on ghost gun trends, firearms trafficking, expanding collection of gun violence data. Oh, I love to hear when they're funding collecting more data on me, don't you? Improving data on gunshot injuries through the CDC. See, this is a medical crisis now. This is a medical pandemic. Supporting survivors of gun violence. Reject the word gun violence, guys. Go back to the beginning of the stream if you just joined. I went on a whole little thing on that. We need to reject that word. Addressing the trauma resulting from, quote, gun violence. Destroying crime guns. Ensuring appropriate disposition of firearms seized by law enforcement. They used to go up for auction. Now they just want to destroy all of them. I know a lot of people that have bought cheap firearms from seized guns from police. Not anymore. They're trying to get rid of that. And then preventing firearm suicide. And this is where I would agree. Now, the government doing it's really probably going to mess it up because they mess everything up. So do I necessarily agree with the way they're going to do it? Actually, probably not. But suicide, that really, really sucks. I lost a really, really dear friend who was an avid firearms owner, Second Amendment supporter, to suicide. He didn't use the gun for the suicide, but it doesn't matter. I'll never get to see him again. Suicide sucks. I think, on so many levels, we should help prevent it. Them doing it this way, they probably won't do a good job of it, though. Let's be honest. Improving the federal gun background check system, yeah. Publishing additional data on trafficking. Okay, I already read those. And then after all of this, they say that's not enough. Congress must act, and we must literally ban everything by the time we're done because it's never enough. And there you go. There's a comprehensive synopsis of what's going on. Let me take another look at the chat. Then we'll take a brief intermission, and I will see you guys on other sites because I want to show you the gun that I've been shooting the most lately. And we'll talk about guns and all kinds of cool stuff, man. Like let our hair down and hang out. Patrick Fellers with a super chat and a channel member. He says fentanyl is responsible for roughly 200 deaths every day. That's terrible, man. Every day, that's 73,000 people each year. Think about that. We lost my wife's niece to fentanyl within the past year. Happens to everybody. But I'm from a good family. I'm from a good town. I know you are. Some of you are, some of you aren't. And shout out to all of you regardless. But it's everywhere, man. It's everywhere. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. I mean, there's people over here right now that won't even assimilate. They're rushing all this crap. I saw a video a couple years ago. There was a policeman, and he had apprehended a suspect, and he was going through the contents of the trunk because there was suspicion on probable cause of drugs being in that trunk. He touches a baggie that had previously contained fentanyl. Maybe you guys saw the video. I think it was viral. And you just watch him instantly, just like, like, I don't know how to describe it, but he like just locks up and goes to the ground. My friend Rick Nieper, who's been on this channel, he was in the chat last night. I think he was on patrol last night. He's also a school resource officer, local policeman in a small township. Huge two-way advocate. Look, there's tons of jackbooted cops that are completely part of the problem. I do not just do the thin blue line, give all cops a pass, because there's lots of bad ones out there. But there's many good ones too. Rick's one of the good guys. He went back into being a policeman after a many-year hiatus to try to make a difference from the inside. And I think in small towns and hopefully still in big cities too, on an individual basis, cops can make a difference. But he was showing me his loadout, okay, what he carries with him, you know. And the most prominent thing that he carries just right there on his vest, I'm looking at it and I'm like, is that an EpiPen? Because, you know, I'll keep an EpiPen because I'm allergic to bee stings, wasps, yellow jackets, you know. I'm allergic. You got to keep that epinephrine nearby or you could go into anaphylactic shock and die in some cases. I don't know if mine's bad enough to die, but I got to where it felt like I was breathing through a pinhole last time I got stung multiple times. So I'm allergic. Maybe not as allergic as some, but highly allergic. So I'm like, I'm looking, I'm like, that doesn't look quite like epinephrine. He goes, no, dude, this is Narcan. And I didn't know exactly what that was. And then he refreshed my memory. I'm like, oh. He's like, dude, that's for drugs. Like if somebody's drug overdosing, we could administer the Narcan for them. But he didn't just have one. He had a couple of them on him. That's so they can administer it to themselves. They could go touch somebody who's using fentanyl. And maybe they built up enough tolerance where it didn't kill them instantly. You know, some people die from it. Some people use it for a long time. The problem is you use it long enough, you're going to die. That's the way I understand, unfortunately. Because there's some good people doing it. They were good people, and then it just ruins their life. Everyone knows somebody like that. I know a lot of guys like to be hardcore and be like, everyone that's used drugs deserves it. They're all terrible people. Look, I don't recommend doing drugs. It's a terrible thing. I'm blessed that I don't do them at all. But there's good people that at a college party just touch it one time, and then they're dead instantly. These aren't bad people. These are people that are getting affected by us not having borders. Complete and utter incompetent from the ground up and from the up all the way down government. It's making us less safe every day. But you could literally touch somebody to, like, I don't know, put them in handcuffs or shake their hand even. And you could die if they have it on you. That's what I understand. Some of you guys may know way more about this than me. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But these are things that I've seen and been told. QD. Wow, dude. Thank you so much, man. $100 super chat. Like, you literally just helped me pay for a good portion of gas money to where I can go and hang out with some good old Southern boys, right? Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate all of you guys tonight with how generous you are and how generous many of you have been in the past. Thank you. But seriously, QD, that's a lot, man. That's big time. And I really, really appreciate you, man. He says, oh, wait a minute. This is funny. We need to go out on a funny note. Let's read this with a straight face. Somebody said, 2A EDU, you need to be more professional, right, QD? Someone said, why do you call her Kamala? She goes by Kamala now. And I'm like, well, hold on a minute. First of all, she doesn't even know what to call herself. She's changed her name 10 times. But when I look at her, she just kind of looks like a camel, right? So I call her Camel, like the dromedary. Okay, be more professional, cutie. All right. I'm going to read this as professionally as I can be. Hot dog doesn't translate well into Haitian, which is what I've been told by my witch doctor. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not professional. I tried. I tried for about 30 seconds. We must remain professional, okay? Just think about what he's getting at here. Hot dog. Oh, man. Dude, there's going to be a run on barbecue briquettes, propane. But in all seriousness, though, this dock shortage, has anyone even heard of it? If you haven't heard of it, look it up. I hope it's nothing. I hope I'm telling you about nothing that's going to happen next week. If it does happen, I'd have to be pretty hungry before I'd eat a cat, though. I mean, wow. Somebody was telling me the other day, they're like, no big deal, man. Cat, the other white meat. I'm like, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. Anyone want any hot dogs? Tell me if there's a good. Here's what I'm going to do, guys. Help me out. Some of you guys that are local, okay? Think about it for a minute. So I'm going to be staying like a day and a night in Columbia, South Carolina. Is there a good hot dog joint there? Is that what we should go look for? Is there a Haitian section of town in Columbia? I don't know. I'm just asking. And then I'm going down a little bit further south than that, a couple hours more south than that, quite frankly. And have any of you all, or I'm going to try to imitate it, all y'alls? I don't say it right. It doesn't sound right, but all y'alls, I love it when you guys say it, though. I promise I do. Heard of Lake Hartwell? Lake Hartwell. It's a super long lake. It's almost like a chain of lakes, but it's called Lake Hartwell, and it divides North Carolina and Georgia. I'm going to be staying like technically in South Carolina, but like if you like made a big jump, then I would be in Georgia. I'm going to be in that area for a couple days after I hang out with my friends at PSA in Columbia, South Carolina. Jane, almond boneless cat is good. Come on, Jane. Oh, man. What's up, Bill Camperus? Nice to see you, man. What's up, Dale? How you doing? Hey, Z. Jewel. 0007. Ooh. Moose Man, hot dog in Haitian is Chihuahua on a bun. Oh, boy. What's up, Denny Wilson? How you doing, man? Nice to be able to say hi to some of you guys tonight. Last night I was so ticked off I didn't look at the chat as much as I like to, but I did watch it on replay. What's up, Richard Denny? You guys are funny tonight. I like this, actually. This is good. Banning, Ego Riser said. I agree. All right. Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to ban YouTube just for tonight. I'll see you guys back on here soon because I have to jump off to go to my regularly scheduled show on Locals and what are we going to call it? Bumble? Okay. The link's down in the description. Rhymes with Bumble. The icon for it's like green. You know what I mean? So we're going to go over there and check it out. Rudy Finney. What's happening, Rudy? Nice to see you. Chain of Lakes in Illinois. Shout out to Illinois. That's not where I'm going to be going, though. I have been there, though. SOMO2SS. No, it's a big lake called Lake Hartwell. And it literally, like, you know, it literally, like, there's a big section there where it divides the great state of South Carolina and Georgia. Wax Factory, what's happened? It says it's just y'all. Yeah, I've heard both. I've heard y'all. I've heard y'alls. I've heard yins. I've heard all y'alls. And I do like it. Like all of it. I'm just looking for a good hot dog place, though. You know what I mean? Come on, Wax Factory. You're correcting my grammar, which is good. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. But You didn't tell me where I can find hot dogs. Like, right, QD? All right, QD. Just send me a text later or something and tell me a good hot dog joint that's like on my way through Virginia into West Virginia. You know what I mean? Because now you guys have got me hungry for hot dogs, thinking about, yeah, Haitians. Yeah, we have a really cool chain of lakes in Michigan too, actually. Okay, by like the Pinckney area and all of that. Pinckney, Hamburg. Some of you guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's a happening place around here too. It's just a chain of really small inland lakes. I got you, man. Sounds like a good time. Use all. 182Q says, yes, I've heard that as well. Oh, geez, you guys are funny. All right, I'm going to jump off here. But Link 7369. Dude, they're stopping the signals, so you're going to need to get rid of those fancy charts in your avatar. That'll be illegal soon to own anything with code. Once you get past the smell, you got it licked. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Here we go. Right here. Right here. Like I said, Dwayne Sablin, Mariano Islands, right? Says, was fun being here. Thanks to AEDU and happy Sunday. Right on. Nice to see you guys. And don't forget, you have a few minutes. I'll be over on Locals. Like Gort said, see you on Locals, Gort, and others, hopefully. Come on over. It's a really nice chat over on Locals as well. The site that rhymes with Bumble. And you got about 40 minutes left to check that link down in the description. Glock 22 Gen 5 just started following. Nice. Shout out. On I'm getting these little things over here. On the ready to drink cold brew from Blackout, there's a buy two, get one free. I drank it last month. Just a sample of it. You know what I mean? Nice stuff. And you can buy two, get one free with that code and that link right down there in the description. Yeah, fun to learn. All right, guys. I am jumping off, and I will see some of you in a few minutes. I'll see the rest of you next week. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.